Hello and welcome to the ROKER RAPPORT EXILES podcast in association with Vaux Breweries. I'm Richard Spate. I'm halfway up a mountain in northwest Wales, and I'm joined down the line from Ireland, from the mountains of Dublin, by Michael Dunn. You right there, Michael?
All right, Rich, how's things? All good?
Not so bad, not so bad. And from Sheffield by Chris Wynn. You right there, mate?
Not bad. Thanks, Rich. All right.
Aye, not so bad at all. I've got a gin in front of me. I'm not too bad. Not too bad. Well, we've had an interesting week of football. A lot to talk about. Today we'll be talking about Shrewsbury Town, where me and Michael were on Saturday to see us lose. And we'll be talking about Oxford United last night. Was recording tonight on Wednesday. And losing that game, and looking ahead to Saturday against Southend, and hopefully not losing that against one of the worst teams in the league. We'll also be getting a match report from the Oxford United match from Brett. And Chris, you were talking to Brett last night, weren't you?
Yes, and he was stuck in a huge traffic jam outside the ground last night. So we had plenty of time to talk about it.
Absolutely. He sent us some pictures. He didn't look like he was going anywhere. And we've also got an interview with Sean Coxon from the North America Supporters Association on NASA, as well as our regular feature, Playing Away, the game where we get our contributors to guess the starting lineup from a historic Sunderland match on this day, or as close as I could find. So we'll start with Shrewsbury, I think. Michael, you were there with me. I think we do. It hasn't been covered yet, has it? But you were there with me. Your journey was a hell of a lot longer than mine, and it didn't go smoothly. I think that was the case for a lot of fans there. I'm sure there were a few who didn't actually make it. So do you want to surmise your day and tell us how you got over to Shrewsbury from your base in Dublin?
Absolute nightmare is the only words I can use to describe Saturday morning and all the time up to the match. So set off from Dublin at about 4 a.m. to get a flight to Birmingham, which was fine. That was grand. But obviously I didn't realise when I got to Birmingham that it was absolutely lashing rain all Friday night in England, it seemed. Southern England.
Yeah, and Wales as well.
It was absolutely rotten when I got there. So I was actually, first beer, I thought the game was going to be called off, and I was like, what am I going to do here all day? But anyway, it was okay. So we got me and my mate Gary, he was a bit later. He got a flight at 10 o'clock from Dublin to Birmingham. And so we got we were on the train from New Street to Shrewsbury. But we're just sitting down, we're getting excited because we're on halfway there. Had a couple of cans on the train, only for a speaker to come over the train to say, last stop is Wolverhampton and all trains to Shrewsbury are cancelled. And I think 5 minutes later, I got a text off you to say that all trains to Chester after the match are cancelled because I was going on to Chester afterwards to my sister's. So all of a sudden I was like, what am I going to do? I don't think I'm going to make the match. And even worse, Rich, I think I had your tickets as well, didn't I? I had to get them for you.
Yeah. Well, you'd owed me my tickets, yeah. But we managed to go and collect them for you and for Gary and me, my lad, as well, to save a bit of time and to make sure that we'd at least get in the ground even if you didn't get there.
But we got to Wolverhampton anyway, and there was actually a good few Sunderland fans stranded around Wolverhampton, and we were outside some pub there for a while. And I think there was maybe 60, 70 Sunderland fans there. And then the trains had put a few buses on to get people to Shrewsbury, but they were looking like it wasn't even going to be there before 3 o'clock if we got the bus. So a good few Sunderland fans had just said, right, we'll go to the pub for the day and just get pissed essentially. So, but I had travelled from Dublin, so I was like determined to make the match. So we got a taxi with a couple of other lads from Wolverhampton to Shrewsbury, which is it's a good guts of an hour drive. Needless to say, when we lost 1-0, I felt like an absolute idiot.
You did. You got there on time, though.
Yeah, I got there, 20 past 2, actually. We had time for a pint before the game started as well, in fairness. We were lucky enough. But
we met you about 22, didn't we?
Yeah.
Straight in the ground.
But
you see,
it's not worthwhile.
Fucking Back in the glory days, Stuart Donald would have come to pick you up in the team coach, wouldn't he?
Yeah, we were saying that it's a pity he's off Twitter now, so we couldn't even contact him.
He would have lent you a car, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he's done that before.
But or was it with the Niall Quinn story when they were stranded in Cardiff? He put all the taxis on as well. Yeah, we got there anyway in time, but ended up being a lot more expensive and a lot longer than I thought it would.
It was a long journey for you. I mean, for us, it wasn't so bad. It's about 2 hours from my base in Northwest Wales. It's actually one of the closest games. It was last season.
You saved the day afterwards as well.
Well, yeah, I give you a lift up to your sisters in Chester, which was no issue for us.
Thank you very much.
We passed Chester on the way, and you were straight out as well, straight down the pub.
Yeah, absolutely needed it after that day. And it ended up being a long night too.
Well, after all that, they put in a showing like that as well.
Oh, I know.
It's just a kick between the legs after all that, isn't it?
Well, it wasn't the worst performance in the world, and I think a lot of people have said that. Yeah. I mean, it was very attacking. We were very attacking minded, very set up really well.
It was let down by a couple of individuals, so
yeah, I thought it was okay. It was kind of one of the only 1-0 games or any Sunderland defeat I've come out of thinking, well, I'm not that disappointed with how we played, really. Because another day we could have won that 3-4-1. Because I think they've only had 2 chances the whole game.
Absolutely. I mean, we hit the post twice. One was Maguire's screamer from outside the box in the first half, and then
O'Nien's header.
A lovely header from O'Nien, wasn't it? I don't know how he managed to direct it, but he was facing directly at us. We were quite close to the pitch, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that was agonising. And then Max Power's deflected shot onto the bar. I mean, we were really close to scoring on several occasions.
A few balls across the box as well, didn't he? There was a lot of crosses going in.
Yeah, and O'Nien was getting into some really advanced positions as well, but we were let down by that 2 minutes of, I don't know what it was.
But I still think for all of our, I mean, we were more attacking, but I just think the front four was still poor, though.
Oh, Greg is poor. It just...
Yeah. Well, I think McGeady as well. I still think, I mean, McGeady had flashes, but generally, I mean, for quite a lot of the game, it was like we were a man down.
He seems to be getting frustrated. He was getting frustrated at the fans. I mean, he was looking at me. He was looking at me and you.
Yeah.
Like at one point, when he failed to get across and looking at us like we didn't know what we were talking about. But bloody hell, it was a funny performance, because any other day we would have come out of that 2-1 winners and maybe a bit lucky, but it was a funny one. I mean, it was a very wet pitch. I don't know if that made any difference. It's a nice modern stadium and the pitch drained reasonably well, but
yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
I only realised last season that they'd left Gay Meadow.
Yeah, it's New Meadow. It's right on the outskirts of town. I go past it all the time on the train, up and down the borders in Wales.
Obviously, I don't keep tracks on Shrewsbury Town, so I didn't realise that they'd left Gay Meadow.
Well, we were there last year. As I say, it's quite close to us, so we made a point of going last year. It was my lad's first game last year, actually.
Win last year.
It was, and Luke O'Nien scored, and it was a great day out, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. And we were expecting something quite similar, and it was a good away day as well. I mean, we went to the pub beforehand, met up with one of the other lads from ROKER RAPPORT, Paddy, who's just moved down to Aberystwyth, for a drink beforehand. I think we went to the Wild Pig, which was kind of, I think, one of the designated fan pubs. It was a good day out all around for us. It was a long one for you. Right?
Yeah,
long one.
Funny and you mentioned that about Shrewsbury being your lad's first game. It was my lad's first game last season, but it was the home game against Shrewsbury.
Nice.
And he's only 6, but it was his first game, and it was
1-1 draw, was it?
Yeah, and
surprise.
It was between Christmas and New Year, and it was about -5, and he was freezing. And after about an hour, he said, "Can we go on?" I said, "Yeah, come on, get off. This is going to end 1-1, so come on, we're off."
Yeah, I don't think my lads experienced the kind of the extreme cold at the match as yet, but
it was okay on Saturday.
It was nice. I mean, in the end, it was sunny.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, dried up actually as the day went on. Thank God. But the trains were still Gary nearly got shafted in Shrewsbury as well. Remember you dropped him to the station and he texted us to say all trains after this one have been cancelled to Birmingham. So the train tracks are obviously flooded for the whole day.
It's been flooded all week. I've got colleagues who've been trying to get to Cardiff and they haven't been able to get there. So yeah, it's still a problem. So those brave souls like yourself who made it over to Shrewsbury, well done to you.
Serious mental illness questions going on after that day.
We'll start talking about anything else except Shrewsbury. I think it's just one of them to take on the chin and forget about. I think Shrewsbury.
Let's talk about Oxford then. Any better?
Yeah, Oxford. I'm not sure that's much of an improvement.
I don't know. I think it was. I think we deserved to win. I think we were the better team. I mean, I think last 10, 15 minutes Oxford were hanging on. Yeah. There's only one team going to win it.
We should have had a penalty or two, shouldn't we? It was.
Nine should have had.
Joe Lynch got it in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, Lynch was. He was. It was like GPH by the keeper, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that bit. I think I joined the pictures at about 20 minutes in, so I missed that bit. But 09's was blatant. I have to say, absolutely blatant.
Well, Lynch's was one of those where he kind of, it almost knocks it out for what looks to be a goal kick, but the keeper just completely wipes him out and is looking the other way. Anywhere else on the pitch, and it's a free kick in the other card.
Yeah.
And power Mr. Sitter as well.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure how he managed it, to be honest.
It's harder to miss.
We got in the positions, we created the chances again. We just didn't put them away. And surely, I mean, I'd be more worried if we weren't creating the chances. But surely at some point they've got to start going in.
I don't know. I just worry about Grigg though. I just don't think he's going to consistently get you goals or Charlie Wyke or McNulty, who I actually was talking to a Hibs fan I know as well, was saying he looks completely unfit this year in comparison to last year when he was at them. And even last night, I think he's put on weight. You can see it in him. Like, he just, I don't know if he's as fit as he was, but I don't know what you saw. If you saw that.
I noticed. I have to say, I was thinking that myself last night, and with the Grigg situation, when he stepped up to take that pen,
I knew
in the shootout, you could tell.
Yeah.
I was like, well, he's not going to score this. He shouldn't. No intent, no focus on what he was doing. It was a very strange. I mean, because the camera was quite close up. I was watching on a big screen, and you could see it. You could see he wasn't going to score. It's like if I stepped up to take a penalty in the penalty shootout, I wouldn't think I was going to score. And I think that's how he was looking at it.
Seems a bit odd, but he actually looks sad, like playing. He doesn't look like he's playing with a bit of like a man who's happy where he is or how he's playing. Like, he just looks kind of like, I don't even want to be here. Like,
I had thought at Wickham that he did look like he was playing with a bit more energy.
Yeah, he just looks very lethargic or something. I don't know.
It's fun. It's a funny one.
I think his head was going down. I mean, when towards the end of Jack Ross, he was hardly getting a chance in front of goal because we didn't create that many chances. And the last few games, we've actually created quite a few chances. Yeah, we've started to attack, and he seems to be getting the odds. Half a chance here, half a chance there that he wasn't getting before. But he doesn't seem sharp enough to be able to take them.
No.
It's putting those low crosses into the centre, rather than banging a high ball in and hoping that something's going to fall down to him. We've been zipping balls across the box, and that's been creating chances.
That should suit him. Him as well.
Absolutely, it's playing to his strengths, isn't it?
Yeah. But he hasn't. We got one goal. Got a goal against Tranmere the other night, but we'll see. South End could be a good opportunity for him to maybe get a couple of goals because they're a fairly leaky defence as well. But
their form is not good. I mean, they've won one game all season.
I know. Yeah.
But they're looking at the new manager bounce, aren't they?
Saul Campbell's in there now, so
yeah, exactly.
See what happens.
So,
and I think he was watching us last night as well, according to Benno and Barnsley. Because I listened to the commentary to begin with, and he was sat a few seats along from them, so he was there watching us. I don't know what he would have made of it.
Well, I hope he wrote down 3-5-2 because I assume we'll then fought the back on Saturday.
Absolutely, and we did switch to that, didn't we? When Lynch went off injured. He went in for a tackle. He fouled someone and seemed to pull something.
Well, I think he was on a bit of a tightrope, Lynch, because first half he crunched someone, should have gotten a yellow card, and then second half, the one where he actually got injured, I mean that was probably bordering on a yellow card as well. But I think probably luckily for him, he crocked himself. in making the tackle. But actually, he'll probably be a miss if it's a bad one on his name.
He's been really good since he's come in. I think him and Willis have actually been quite good together. Definitely marked improvement on the last two, Baldwin and Flanagan, in comparison to last year.
Even though we've kept conceding goals. I mean, watching the goal back, just to skip back a game, watching the goal back from Shrewsbury, because I mean, when we were there, we couldn't quite realise how they'd managed to score. How they got the ball in the box against two down the wing was quite remarkable. But then there was a lack of reaction in the centre, I think from Willis, which was, looking back on it, it's probably what was cost us the goal in terms of them being able to get a shot on target. So, but they do look more solid, and you've got more confidence in them on the ball, and more confidence in their experience and their nous around the pitch, really.
Yeah, well, I think you've summed it up there when you were talking about. I mean, because I think, it's been our problem for years, but defending from out wide, our fullbacks. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had decent fullbacks. And teams just seem to get the ball into the box and wide areas so easily against us. And then after that, I mean, half the time if it's bobbing around the area, it's just a lottery whether it drops to someone's feet and they stick it away.
It was the other thing as well is that McGeady wasn't helping Hume out whatsoever. Yeah. On Saturday when the balls are coming into the box, it was usually 2-on-1, and that's the biggest problem with McGeady when he's playing. You're just expecting him not to contribute really defensively, which is just not good for a guy like Hume as well. He's not really an experienced defender at this level either.
He's been exposed, isn't he? He's been exposed there.
And I think it's one of the reasons last night he went with three at the back. I think he decided to use the League Cup, Parkinson, to kind of test out three at the back with wing backs. So you're not reliant on people like Watmore and McGeady getting back in and kind of, backing up the full backs, because that's not their natural game. Well, McGeady just won't do it. And I think that's what last night he kind of played him off. He kind of played him off the striker, didn't he, more centrally, which is probably the best idea with McGeady at the minute, because he seems a bit lost out wide.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see whether Watmore's back in on Saturday. I think if he is, we'll be a lot more dangerous. And, who would have thought that a few weeks ago when we didn't even know whether he'd be playing again for us. But Parkinson's seemed to have given him a new lease of life. But probably it was just a coincidence in terms of the timing of his recovery from the series of injuries he's had. But I think if he's there, it's going to make a big difference to the way that we play, the style of play.
Yeah, well, it's amazing what a bit of pace can do.
And he's so direct as well, And again, a team like Southend, who will cause them so much problems, because half the time I don't think Watmore even knows what he's going to do, which is great, because it confuses the defenders as well.
Well, I tell you what, we better score a few goals on Saturday. I was working out last night. If we don't score on Saturday, me and the boy will have travelled over 1,100 miles in the last 3 weeks, over 20 hours, to see 3 games and see us score no goals. So they're bloody better. Or the lad he'll turn and he'll support Liverpool or something,
He seemed fairly committed on Saturday, Rich. I won't be too worried about him.
I know we're going to have to watch him in years ahead, I tell you.
He reminds me of a young Michael Dunn there in the making.
So we'll move on because we've got a few things that are going to come into the pod once we finish talking. We're gonna go now, I think, because we've talked about Southend. Southend and Shrewsbury at length. I think we're going to go over now to the chat that you had with Brett Lyons-Davis, our other regular host of the pod, who was at the Oxford game last night. And Chris, you spoke to him on Skype last night after the match, as you were saying. So we'll go over to that now.
This is Chris Wynn, and I'm in my house in Sheffield, having just watched that. I don't know. I don't want to say a disaster because we played all right, but I watched that in my house in Sheffield, and we have Brett on the line, who's currently stuck in his car in Oxford. How are you, Brett?
I've been better, honestly, Chris. As you say, I am stuck in the car. Literally, I don't know if you've ever been to Oxford before. Their ground is opposite, there's a bingo hall and a bowling alley and a TGI Fridays, and there's a big car park around the back of it. I am currently sat in that car park. It's 10:30, so the game finished 45 minutes ago, I think. Basically, not even turned my engine on. I've been sat in the car just waiting to move. So yeah, it's I'm not going anywhere, mate, to be honest.
I went to the old Manor Grant Stadium where it was like 16 separate stands, but I've never been to the new one yet. Have they got that stand finished behind the goal? Is that not still a car park?
No, that's still a car park. That's a weird thing, isn't it? Like, you can park outside there and you can literally watch your car from the ground if you want. Thankfully, Will Grigg's penalty was at the other side. Otherwise, someone's windscreen would have been put through. But it's it's an odd stadium, to be fair, mate.
So the people in the ground can still see you, can they?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's also, actually, it was quite funny. There was a transit van parked outside the ground with 3 blokes just sort of standing on top of it. So, welcome to League One, even though obviously a League Cup game. But yeah, it's definitely a lower league ground, this one.
Okay, sounds good. And someone in the car park's got the present of Will Grigg's penalty missed match ball, have they?
Oh, well, there's a few balls went out. So there's a couple of Christmas presents being sorted already this year.
So what do you think of the game then? How do you think it went, Brett?
To be fair, it was one of those weird games where, it's a typical Sunderland game at the moment. The first sort of 25 minutes, I thought we looked all right without really pressuring their goalie. We weren't even having any shots, but we had a lot of the ball. We sort of knocked it about. So, yeah, first half was very poor. Max Power missed an absolute sitter a couple of minutes before the end. And then we sort of changed it around. Well, I think first sort of 5-10 minutes into the second half were poor again. And then only 09 come on, thought he changed the game, should have had a penalty. I think he scored. I wasn't sure it wasn't announced who our goal scorer was. I'm assuming it was him. Did 09 score our goal?
No, it was McNulty.
I was supposed to say that because all around us, no one knew who scored the goal because Oxford didn't even announce it.
No, so, it was a good, nice little finish.
No, it was a bit of a bung in the box, and he finished it nicely. But we could see who it was. Yeah. 09 should have had a penalty second half. I think we should have had a first one as well. I think Lynch got taken out in the first half as well.
Well, yeah. To be fair, Lynch was kind of walking the line with some of his tackles. He could have easily had a yellow card in the first half, and then his tackle that led to him actually going off could have been a yellow card. I thought, Lynch, I thought was walking a bit of a tightrope with the referee. But so I mean, in terms, I thought in the first half it was pretty even. But I thought we came out the second half actually looking like we actually wanted it. So Parkinson must have said something at half time.
I think it took a little bit to kick in personally. I say if we all look at things differently, I think so, for me it was 09 coming on that changed it, and all of a sudden it looked like we were going to get back into it. The crowd were well up for it second half, especially. I'm a bit more croaky than I usually am. It was, it felt good. Yeah, the green shoots is where the best thing I can explain. The last half hour, especially for that game, we weren't great overall, but so I do agree with saying we definitely wanted it in that second half. Those players deserved something out of that game. It's a bit unfair. To lose on penalties is always hard. I know we're not overly bothered by the League Cup. I suppose I've lost at Oxford and get hammered 7 or 8-0 by Man City at some point. So it's it's a funny game, isn't it? Where you're not too bothered that you lost, but I think we did deserve to go through.
Yeah. So what were the fans like? Were the fans? Because it was a cold night tonight. So were they up for it from the off?
I'll tell you what, the fans were really good tonight, and I have to say a little bit of a special mention because I actually met up with the Thames Valley Mackems. I think that they're on Twitter at TV Mackems. A guy called Les there who sorts it out, and I met up with him and his missus, and for some unknown reason she was wearing both a yellow jumper and yellow coat, which is ideal when you're going to play Oxford away. But they're a really, really nice couple. I met a few other lads as well. There's Paul, Kieran, and Kieran's dad, whose name I can't remember, and I feel really rude. I forgot his name. They're a really good bunch of lads. For me, and I know normally when I go to away games, it's just normally me and my dad. He's actually away for a few days. So I was on my Todd, but it was great to actually meet up with some people and beforehand and have a chat about the game and have a beer and stuff. So yeah, really, really good. I know the club have been kind of pushing to get the branches going. That was sort of Les started this up just a couple of months back, and they've got like 200 followers on Twitter already. And they met up last weekend for the game on Saturday. So yeah, it was really good. So yeah, special mention though to the the at TV Mackhams. But for the fans in the grounds, they were well up for it today. I know I've been to games in Milton Keynes when we played the Dons in the League Cup, and it was I know sometimes the northern fans get annoyed at the southern fans, and as if they're not loud enough or whatnot. But tonight there was none of that. The fans were behind the team 100%. I didn't hear a negative comment, towards the players. Fans were singing, all game long, especially like I say, that last half hour. The fans were really, really up for it. So, I say it's green shoots. I think if the players play like they did in the last half hour, the fans will back them. 100%.
Yeah, you mentioned the Southern fans. How were the Oxford fans? Were they up for the League Cup? Or because it sounded like the last 10, 15 minutes it turned into a real kind of cup tie. It was going from end to end. And to be fair, it looked like there was only one team who was going to win it, and that was us. But Oxford nearly caught us on the break a couple of times. But it sounded like as the game was approaching the end, approaching the 90-minute mark, the fans, the whole ground seemed to start getting right into it, thinking there was going to be some sort of big finale.
You're right, actually. It became that real cup. Last half hour, it became a real cup tie atmosphere. They were quite quiet in parts, and it's quite handy because some of the songs they sing are the same songs that we sing. So they'd almost get our fans going, sort of thing. They start singing, we're by far the greatest team, and all of a sudden the Sunderland fans would hijack it. But no, to be fair to them, they play. They sung their hearts out. When they won it, they're through. The singing that off to Wembley. You felt like saying to them, lads, were there last year twice. It's rubbish. But fair play to them. Good luck in the next rounds. They deserve. On the night, it could have gone either way. Penalties is a bit crap to go out on. It was a bit weird as well because no one quite knew what the situation was going to be at full time. Is it extra time? Is it straight to penalties? It was a bit of a weird one. So some people like myself need to do homework before they play games.
I think did they put something on the kind of the penalty system? Because I'm sure I heard them make an announcement or something that was going straight to penalties.
That's exactly what it was. There was an announcement because they made a sub on like the 90th minute, 92nd minute. No one was quite sure why the sub was, and some said, "Oh, but it must be so you can take a penalty." And lo and behold, that was the reason. There was a really random thing as well that I must mention. As the players were coming off at full time, some random bloke, I saw a Kuwait flag opposite us that was hanging up, and all of a sudden this bloke went on the pitch waving this Kuwaiti flag, and this steward bombed after him and did the most perfectly timed slide tackle I think I've ever seen. He would have got none of the ball, but completely took out the man. Sorry.
Are you sure it wasn't Lynch? Because I think England didn't rough you with them tonight.
It might well have been. It was a bit. We could tell you what, we could have done with him at times. It was a great tackle. So as a whole, it was what it was. It was a game that was a bit of a freebie. Had we gone through, happy days. Had we not, let's focus on the league. I'm still sat in the car park, not moving. I'm actually going to a Southend game on Saturday. I'm taking my daughter and my dad up. Fingers crossed, I might be actually out of here by then.
So hopefully we'll have something from you on the Southend game next week.
Definitely, mate. I will be back.
Nice one. Well, hopefully as well. I mean, on a sour note about Lynch, actually, it looked like he'd really kind of done his knee in at first, and I know he kind of limped off, which is a kind of a good sign. But hopefully he's okay for the weekend, because it'll be interesting whether he sticks with his 3 at the back experiment or whether he goes back to the back 4.
It was unusual, seeing it, because obviously we did it with Ross for the first couple of games and it didn't work. Obviously, I don't think we had the time we had Lynch at the time to try it with him in as a back 3. To me, I don't know. It seems to stifle us a little bit. As I say, we only had one up front, and then you had that sort of centre of Dobson, Power, and Ledbetter. For me, there's not a great deal of pace out of them 3. And then sort of like you had McGeady kind of floating behind, but McNulty always seemed to be a little bit isolated. As I said before, he's not the tallest, so he's not great for these wingers putting crosses in. But in fact, in that, none of our team's not very big anyway. For me, apart from like Charlie White, because he's injured, and I know when Parkinson came in, he liked the big man up front, but I don't know if that team suits crosses into the box.
You kind of touched on it there. I was gonna mention that. I thought we actually looked better when we had McNulty and Greg up top, but they were pushing right onto the Oxford kind of back four, almost looking in for balls in behind.
Yeah.
We looked more dangerous when those two were kind of focal points rather than one dropping off and having one person isolated without anybody within kind of 20 yards of them.
No, definitely. I 100%. I was sort of making odd little notes as and when I could, if any sort of stops in playing. One of them I did make a note of saying we need two up front. Now, I believe we've got quite good footballers in this team, players who can actually play the ball and pass it around. It seemed that the tactic today was McLaughlin, hoof it out to McLaughlin on the right or Hume on the left, and the ball quite a few times was just coming back. And you think these players, can play. They're good footballers. They can pass the ball around. I know, like Ledbetter's got like a Gerrard type ball in him every so often, but then it's not consistent enough. We haven't got any consistently players who can hit these 35, 40-yard passes. Just play around. Play the ball around these teams, and we seem to get a lot better for that. But I say it's for me, the last half hour were definitely green shoots coming through. If you can play like that, for 90 minutes, like we did in the last half hour, we all beat teams in this league without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Well, especially at home, if we go at teams at home with two up front and kind of go from the off and really kind of attack teams, and I suppose the key is just basically say that, so the two front, especially at home, if we really push that and start on the front foot, then more often than not, you'd expect us to get the 3 points. So I'm hoping from the last 10, 15 minutes, Parkinson's got a bit of food for thought for the weekend and maybe for the rest of the season, because you just want us to be on the front foot sometimes and really go at teams, and you think we're not quite just going from the off.
No, 100%. And I think that Tranmere game last week is a perfect example of what happens when we do attack teams and we go for it. We just ripped them apart. And we can't. League games against these teams, let's just attack them. And 100%, what you're saying there, I 100% agree with you. We should be beating these teams. We're better footballers than these. A lot of these teams. We should be beating. Just attack them and let them. I think the lad said it last week on the pod. Just attack teams and let them fear coming to the stadium alight, as opposed to it's going to be a great day out.
Exactly. And I mean, thinking about the cup, we would have only gotten Man City in the next round and getting hammered anyway. So.
Well, that's exactly it, mate. I think it's nice to get a little bit of a cup run. I often say it's not a bad thing having cup runs, but we've got bigger fish to fry. We're not going to win the League Cup, are we? So, bow out now. Say it's a bit of a shame we lost on penalties. There's some positives to take from it. Let's try and be positive and not massively negative. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. We lost tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm going to keep saying it's a draw.
Yeah, very draw.
Well, because I mean, Oxford put a strong side out. We probably deserve to win the game on the balance of play, especially in the second half, especially in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and on a personal point of view, massive positive for me, because I was at the Peterborough game and I was at the Wickham game. Tonight's actually been my first goal of the season, so I'm over the moon to actually get to celebrate a goal. I think that was about 250 odd minutes. I think I went now about a goal this season. So yeah, at least that's one monkey off my back.
Brilliant. And we can actually allow you to go to games in future than away games. So
that's exactly it. And now I actually know who scored the goal as well, which is even better.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, thanks very much, Brett, from your car in Oxford. I hope you get home some point before the weekend.
It would be nice. Thank you very much, Chris. Cheers for giving us a call.
Brilliant. Cheers, Brett. Have a safe journey home.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
That was a really interesting reaction from Brett there, and a good chat with Chris. So we're going to go into playing our new game, devised by Martin Wanless over in Australia, playing away, where the host, which is me this week, again, picks a game from this time of year in years gone by. I've picked a game from the 1st of November in 1994. So that game was, I will give you the result. It was Sunderland 1, Charlton Athletic 1. It was at Roker Park. in front of a massive crowd of 14,085. So do we want to go through the lineup? Who do we think we had in goal back then?
Well, I'm just going to say one thing. I was born on the 24th of September 1994.
So, 2-month-old Michael, do you remember who we had in goal? I think I was at this match. I don't know if you were as well, Chris.
I was there. I used to go in the Cluxton paddocks. £3.50 to get in, 50p a programme. Laughing, brilliant.
Those were the days. Yes. I was probably, I don't know. I was 12, so probably I'd graduated from the ROKER end to the main stand corner of the full end, which was my regular place to stand back in the day. So who do you think we had in goal then, Chris?
1990. So this is 1994.
I'll give you the manager was Mick Buxton.
It was Mick Buxton. So hang on. So we're talking. Give us the date again.
It was no googling. It was the 1st of November 1994. We're talking about Ensley Division 1. So that was what is now the Championship. 1-1 against Charlton.
This was the season where. Was this the one where Buxton took over from Butcher?
Butcher wasn't there that long, was he?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure it was maybe been Buxton's full season, so he took over the season before. Because I remember I was at his first game when Collymore ripped us a new one at Roker Park.
God, yeah, that was Southend, was it?
Yeah, no, Forest.
Forest. Yeah, he scored for Southend against us as well. I remember that. He always used to score against us.
At this point, it was probably was it Norman or Chamberlain? I'm gonna go for Chamberlain.
It was Chamberlain in goal. Well done.
Fair play.
So, your defenders, chip in anything you want here, Michael.
I'll try my best. I might know names.
So, right back, one of my favourite players of all time.
Yeah, he bought him he got him on loan the season before, then bought him in the summer for $100,000. It was Darius.
It was Darius Kubicki or Kubicki, or I've never quite worked out how to say his name, but it was Darius. It was the Polish wing back, absolutely fantastic. A left back, local lad.
Local lad. I was going to go Anton Rogan. So local lad, left back. Wasn't. Well, Mickey Gray would have made his debut by then, wouldn't he? Because he made it under Butcher.
No, but so who'd you say, Michael?
I was going to say Mickey Gray as well.
Mickey Gray. No, but if we, we couldn't get Cantona, but we did have.
Oh, Dickie Ord.
We did have Dickie Ord instead.
He wasn't a very good left back, mind.
No, well, it's
much better when Reedy moved him to centre half.
Yeah, well, in centre half now, if you get one of the two centre halves. That I'm going to get. I'll get you both a drink. I think looking at the lineup, unless we played 5 at the back, and I don't think Mick Buxton was that adventurous.
No.
I think I'll give you ball. He's in the squad, but I don't think he was playing centre back.
Really?
I'm not sure because there's 2 names in this team that I've had to look up. Basically, right. I have no recollection of 2 lads in this team ever having played for us.
Butcher bought Melville, so Melville will have been in there.
Andy Melville was in the team.
And Bowley at the back. So that would unless there's another centre half, which I can't really think of.
We're gonna go through some of the more familiar names from that
still
time.
There.
Lee Howie.
Benno wasn't playing that game. Lee Howie wasn't in the squad.
Martin Scott, was it?
Martin Smith was in there. Martin Scott was a bit later in the 90s.
Martin Scott. Yeah, Martin Scott. It was that season. Later on that season,
was it?
Swapped just before deadline day. I think he swapped Gary Hours for Martin Scott and a bit of money for Bristol City.
So you've got another name there who was in the squad, who was in the team. Gary Hours.
Oh, Gary Hours. Yep.
Gary Hours was there
by that point. Yeah.
And then up front, we've somebody who's regularly commentating on.
We've got a back four. So we've got Darius. We've got Dickie Ord left back. We've got Bowley and Melville centre half. We've got Gary Hours probably centre midfield by this point. So we need, and we've got Martin Smith on the left. So
Kevin,
we need some.
did you say Bally as well?
Bawley's in there. I'm still not convinced that he was in central defence.
So we need this. I think we need another centre midfielder and a right midfielder.
Honestly, if anyone gets the two wildcard names in this, both of whom were substituted, I think at the same point in the game. No, a bit later in the game.
Right midfield. It was playing right midfield.
I'm out. I won't know this.
This is well. The up front's probably easier to get. One of whom's a regular commentator on Sky on Championship games.
I guess it's the G-Force.
It was the G-Force.
Yeah.
Well, the second G-Force.
Goodman.
The first was Gabardini and Gates, isn't it?
And then we've got up front Don Goodman and Phil Gray. The two names, and you aren't going to get them. Honestly,
give us a second. Right midfield.
I'm assuming
Armstrong wasn't in the squad, so Gary Hours was centre mid. It was Gordon Armstrong in there.
Armstrong wasn't in there.
Give us a clue. It was one of them signed by.
I'm not even sure. Well, they must have both been signed by Buxton. On the bench, just to rule these out, on the bench was Martin Gray and Craig Russell, and they came in for a lad called Ian Rogerson.
Oh, from Birmingham. Butcher bought him. Butcher bought him. He was in the crash because he was in the when the 5 signings signed for Terry Butcher, and they're in Derek Ferguson's car, and they had that smash on the roundabout.
I must have missed. I was only 12. I must have missed that.
Ian Rogerson was in that because it was coming back from, I want to say, Alan Harper's testimonial at Middlesbrough, and it was a pre-season friendly, and Derek Ferguson was going too fast coming up to a roundabout, and I think he went round the wrong way.
Wow. Well,
five players were injured. All these new Terry Butcher.
So maybe the other lad whose name I'd just never seen before was in that car, and that was Ian Snodin.
No, Ian Snowden.
Snowden.
He had him on loan from Everton. He was part of the brilliant Everton side of the 80s.
Right.
He was
Look at this encyclopedia.
Glyn Snowden, who was assistant manager under Grayson.
Oh, yeah.
It's his brother.
Yeah, there you go.
And Buxton got him on loan for about a month because I had him. It was one of the questions for a quiz a few weeks back that I did.
Mad.
And he had him on loan for about a month. I think he played about 7 games, and I think he was about 34, 35 by this point. He was past
veteran.
I think he played 6 games for Sunderland, 6 in the league, and Rogerson played 5 plus 5 substitute appearances.
Yeah, he was a decent player. I think the season before for Birmingham, and he played well against us, and I think that's where Butcher noticed him. But once he got injured before the season even started, the season before this one, he never got going after that, and I think he left playing a handful of games.
I really seriously, those names have never registered with me, but I was only 10, 11, 12 at the time. I'm going to give a bit of a shout out to the statcat.co.uk for the stats there and the team list. But you got there in the end, or almost. You got 9 out of 11, which was pretty good.
If you'd given us about an hour, I would have went through all of the players, I think, and eventually got.
Or a couple of days for me, maybe.
and some Google. So finally, on today's ROKER Report Exiles podcast, I was very fortunate last night before the Oxford United match to speak to Sean Coxon from the North America Supporters Association, otherwise known as NASA. Now, Sean's over there in New Jersey and give us half an hour of his time before the match and tell us a little bit about the Supporters Association and some of the stuff they get up to, and a couple of gold anecdotes in this. So on the line from New Jersey, we have Sean Coxon from the North American Supporters Association, otherwise known as NASA. So, Sean, I'm guessing from your accent, because we were talking just before I started recording, that you're not a New Jersey native.
No, I'm not actually. You're going to laugh. I'm from Wallsend. I was brought up in Gateshead, and my father's obviously a big Sunderland supporter. He used to take us to ROKER Park as a kid. So started off in the ROKER end, ended up in the Fulwell, and obviously, it stayed with us. The first game I remember really was, I don't know if you remember it, you're about my age, Huddersfield, when Bridges come on and scored 2.
I think so.
That was one of my best memories, that, by the way, because I was new to it and stuff, and I think that was my first game in the Fulwell end, and we're getting beat as well, if I'm right in thinking, and then we had Shea given in goal, and Bridges come on and scored 2. We won the game 3-2, and I think we went on to win the league that season as well. So
yeah, it was a great team, that, wasn't it, with Bridges coming through. It really was. Shea given, and then he went and ruined our and broke our hearts. I remember as a kid I could hardly get over that he went and played for Newcastle.
I know, for so cheap as well, £1 million or something, wasn't it?
I know. Anyway, so you were over there in New Jersey. You've been there for a couple of years?
So I came out here. I coach football, or soccer as they like to call it out here, which I'm still refusing to call it, by the way. I still call it football. So I came out here in 2012. I originally came out here for like 9 months, and then ended up with a family and stuff. So I've been here ever since. I've got a green card and stuff now, so I'm happy. And yeah, I mean, I miss Saturdays. Saturdays are the one thing I miss the most. Like going to the match with the boys and stuff. It's not the same out here, if I'm being honest. Every other part of the life I love, apart from I miss Sunderland. So.
Do you go and watch football locally? Do you go and watch any of the teams in like New York, New Jersey area?
I used to. I used to work for the Red Bulls and stuff, so I used to get tickets for them, and I go and watch NYCFC a lot. I watched them a lot when Pirlo was there, because I love Pirlo. He's one of my favourite players. But obviously they play at the Yankee Stadium, and it just doesn't look right. Having football in the baseball stadium and stuff, and I just couldn't really get away from it, so I just thought, I'm not going to go again.
It's difficult, isn't it, when you move to a new place? You do go and watch new teams, local teams. I mean, I live in northwest Wales, and I went to watch Bangor City quite a lot, but they've dropped down the leagues really quickly. I mean, the quality football there, I think, is well below what you'll find in the MLS as well, like. But
well, I'd be amazed at that. Well, I mean, look, when I was going to watch the Red Bulls, that Henri Cahill, that's some good players, and obviously, but then they got rid of they wanted local players. I think they were trying to get rid of the MVPs and stuff, and bring in they wanted to bring youth, so the teams, they're not what they were. But hey, it doesn't really bother us, because I'm not really a Red Bulls fan, so.
No, you're a Sunderland fan, and so can you tell us a little bit about the branch and kind of what you get up to and all that?
Yeah, so I'm a regional rep for NASA, the North America Sunderland Association. You'll never see a mag on the moon. That's what we normally say. We do get-togethers and stuff. We watch the games in a bar called Legends in New York. Brilliant bar. I don't know if you know New York, if you've been.
No, I've never been. Well,
it's a bar. It's called Legends, but downstairs it's called the Football Factory. The guy's great who runs it. We go in there. We get a full English. We get a set up on the. If Sunderland aren't on ESPN or anything, we can use the link, and we'll just use the link, and we'll log in that way and get it on the big screen and stuff. So yeah, we go there. We watch games together and stuff. It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
Fantastic. And you've got chapters across North America and Canada as well.
Yeah, everywhere, America and Canada. We do every year. We do get-togethers and stuff. We've had Lee Howie out here last year. Darren Williams has been out here. Tony Norman a few years back. So we get players and stuff out here, and we have a yearly meeting every year, like an annual in one location, and everyone just piles together and tries and gets there. Or we just have we have like certain games. The next game's the Coventry game. That's when we're going to meet next. So yep, that should be good in November. So hopefully we'll get a few along.
So you've been meeting up in Legends in November for the Coventry game?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I should know because I'm organising it. I think it's the 23rd of November. I think, but don't hold us to it because I'm poor with dates.
So how many members have you got then? It sounds like there's a kind of few of you over there.
We've got about 90 between New York and New Jersey, 90, 100. Well, like I say, that's just New Jersey, New York. So obviously I don't know how many more there is because obviously I only focus on New Jersey, New York. But yeah, we have a lot of. You'd think a lot of them would just be expats and stuff, but there's a lot of Americans as well. You know, there's a lot of American guys, who are Sunderland supporters. I think because of the documentary and because of Claudio Reyna, believe it or not. I mean, Claudio Reyna was massive out here. Yeah, like he's a New Jersey boy as well. A lot of them, a lot of lads like Claudio, and they just jumped on Sunderland because of that. So
well, it works the other way around. I mean, I've recently started to try and follow a bit of the MLS and started following on social media, not watching any of the games yet. Minnesota United, because they've got Vito Manoni in goal. Mm-hmm. He's just won MLS goalkeeper of the year or something like that.
Yeah, he was excellent as well, Vito. He's really good. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a natural thing, is it? Where you got an affinity for a player, you can pick up the next club that they go to. I think VVV Venlo have picked up quite a few Sunderland fans from hiring Lee Catmull this year.
I can imagine.
Yeah, definitely. So there are some natives out there, and do you think then that the documentary has had an impact on
huge, massive. I mean, just on Sunderland in general, it's like there was before Sunderland Till I Die. There was a documentary. I don't know if you've seen it out there. It was on NBC. It was called "Keep the Faith: The Sunderland AFC Story." Try and look for it on YouTube. I thought it was only a 1 hour NBC special, but they showed it at prime time NBC, and it was brilliant. It was all about the city of Sunderland and the club and the fans and the passion. And I went into work the next day, and everyone was like, "Oh, did you see that documentary on NBC about Sunderland?" So that was excellent. And then obviously the Sunderland Till I Die. It's funny because I went to the Yankee Stadium. a month after it recorded, and I had my Sunderland hat on. And I had 4 people coming up going, Sunderland Till I Die. And they were all Americans, and I'm filling my car up with gas, and there's people, oh yeah, Sunderland Till I Die. So it's been huge out here. It really has. It's been excellent for the club as well. To show the club. I think obviously it's sad, and we know how it ends and stuff, but I just think in terms of portraying the club and the fan base especially, because I'm getting Americans now saying, oh, he's really getting 35,000 in League One. That's unbelievable. Like, they can't believe it.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, it's really good, No,
it does paint us in a really good light, and the fact that it's lads from Sunderland who've made it. It's they've got Martin Longstaff doing the music. It's very much like embedded in the culture of the city and the club, and it's great that it's spreading it.
Well, do you know what's funny? I worked for a company last summer, a coaching company in New Jersey, and the president's son, Barron Trump, used to come in, and he used to do because they've got a golf course out here, and he's massive on soccer. He was born in 2006, so his knowledge of football is excellent for an American, no disrespect, because a lot of the kids have only heard of Messi's and Neymar's and stuff, and his knowledge is brilliant. And I was doing one of the camps, and the Secret Service were there and stuff, and we're trying to keep it low key. And I'm walking around, I've got my shorts on, and he went, Sunderland. I went, yeah. And he started laughing. He goes, what are you laughing for? And he goes, it's funny because it could be worse. You could be a Sunderland supporter. And I went, what do you mean? He goes, whenever my dad's having a bad day, I say to him, it could be worse. You could be a Sunderland supporter. And I didn't know if I take it as a compliment and I was like, what a cheek. But then I thought, you know what? I don't mind that, by the way. I think it's pretty funny. So yeah,
It's funny. It is funny. I don't know what to make of it, really.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I'm not as big a fan, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm not going to get involved because I'm
No.
But I just think you can just imagine him say it, and how would he react and stuff. And I was telling my dad was like, oh, you've got to try and get him a top and get it that one over, But and he was like, yeah, that's what I say to my dad. It could be worse. You could be a Sunderland supporter. I mean, he probably has a few bad days, so he probably gets it a lot.
I'm sure he does, especially at the minute. So what have you got coming up for our listeners in North America? Because we have quite a few. We're aware of that. We've got analytics and that.
Well, the next gathering in New York, New Jersey is the Coventry City game, as I mentioned. November 23rd in Legends. I was going to say 10 a.m., but it might be 11 now with the clocks changing. But we normally get there early, get a breakfast and stuff. Yeah. And that's from New York, New Jersey point of view. And I know Toronto and stuff are quite busy. They're a big branch. They've got a lot going on. So yeah, just check out the website or you know, to just go on, have a look at NASA, have a look what we're about, you know, and if anyone wants to get involved, then we'd be grateful. So, yeah. The club are excellent, by the way. The club are, you know, we speak to Charlie a lot, and Charlie Medvin, and the club are really good, really supportive of it and stuff. So I think it's quite nice, you know, the club appreciate the branch and stuff. So, yeah, that's all good.
Well, there's a lot of potential for growth in North America for English clubs, and I mean, if we can get back to the Premier League sooner rather than later, it could really explode, really, couldn't it?
Well, hopefully. I went back in May for the playoffs, and I get back quite a bit, you know. Well, I used to get back the football season out here finishes end of November, so I normally go back every Christmas. I went to Bradford last year. I went to Bolton. Not Bolton, sorry, Blackpool, when we took 10,000. That was brilliant. But this year, my girlfriend's expecting another child, so I'm not allowed to come back. So thank you. But yeah, we're busy. You know, we're trying to grow the branch and trying to spread the word out here. You know, so.
Well, good luck with that, and thanks for your time, Sean. We've got the Oxford City match coming up in half an hour's time, so we're both better get our various streams and radio stations open and headphones on and get following the lads on their Carabao Cup exploits. Well, fingers crossed for that, and it was lovely to speak to you, Sean. Stay in touch. I'm
a big fan of the show, by the way.
Cheers, mate.
Doing excellent. So
fantastic. Thanks, mate.
I'm still getting used to having the London guy talking about Sunderland. I still think, you know,
Brett.
He's a good lad, by the way, but I laughed because I was driving the other day. My mate went, "What's this, a Sunderland podcast?" I went, He went, "There's a Cockney." I went, "He's a Sunderland supporter." And he just shook his head. I was like, you know.
It takes all sorts, doesn't it? We've got people who've no connection to the club whatsoever, part of the Exiles gang, and all passionate Sunderland fans to a man.
Hey, it's funny when you go away, the further down south you get past Birmingham, you meet a lot of Sunderland fans with London accents. So
yeah.
You know,
there was loads at Wickham the other week. There was plenty. I was talking to a couple of lads in the queue who were native to London but Sunderland fans their entire life. It's a family tradition, and hopefully you'll be bringing your kids up in it as well, will you?
Aye, well, my son's called Niall.
There you go. Good, strong name.
I love it. I've got another one due, and she's like, I'm naming it, but like, I don't know. I wanted to call him Kevin Phillips, but, you know, she wouldn't let us. She's knocked that on the head. I was going to have like Kevin and his middle name Phillips, but nah, you know, she's kicking off. But it's funny because she's Irish, and she's like, do you like the name Aidan? And I'm thinking, you know what, I quite like that, you know, and I like Aidan McGeady, so I think, you know what, I haven't told her about Aidan McGeady because she put a block on it, but I'm thinking, it's not a bad name. Who knows?
Who knows? All right, well, it was nice to speak to you, Sean, and keep in touch, mate.
Thanks for the call, I appreciate it.
No worries, man. So that anecdote there from Sean Coxon was absolute gold dust about Baron Trump and Sunderland not being as bad as some of the days that Donald Trump's been having recently. So with that out of the way, I'd like to say thank you and goodbye to Chris Wynn in Sheffield. See you later, man.
Cheers, Rich, and thanks for letting us reminisce about the Buxton days.
Absolutely, it's a much maligned era in our history, I have to say. And Michael Dunn as well, safely back in Dublin now from his trip over to England this week.
Cheers, Rich. Thanks for the lift again.
No worries. Anytime. All right, speak to you both soon, and there'll be another pod, I'm sure, coming up pretty soon for all of our listeners. Sarah.